Hello, my name is Jess, and welcome to my channel. Thank you for joining me. And Today's episode is Truthful Tuesdays, and I want to talk about loneliness as the real pandemic and the division that COVID has created in our world, and not just the virus, the division that the governments have enforced, and everyone is so separated and segregated and in isolation, and it's a very difficult time for a lot of people. I know I'm definitely feeling the effects of that. um, it's been it's been a really rough year and a half throughout this whole COVID process with all the lockdowns. So loneliness is the pandemic. We hear about the COVID infection rates and recovery rates and vaccination numbers and everything else, but there are some really important underlying issues that we're not hearing about. And that's about the suicide rates, that goes up in instances of isolation and extreme loneliness. We're not hearing much about the relapse rates for alcoholics and addicts who have been forced into isolation, and many of the face-to-face meetings have been canceled um, for the recovery meetings. Um, Everything is moved to online, and it's not the same. Um, it's a very difficult time. And then we have this division now that the vaccine passports has created. Um, I am a person that's in recovery. I've been in recovery for 13 years now, and I haven't always done it perfect. I've relapsed different times throughout the years. This time around, I have been clean and sober since 2017, um, except for medicating with marijuana at times, which I am trying to be abstinent from because I want to be completely sober and clear minded. But it's difficult because I'm in a lot of pain a lot of the time. Physically, because I do have real, actual physical ailments. Um, and, you know, um, grass takes the edge off of that, but also emotional pain and, this big gaping emptiness that I feel inside, that a lot of it is caused by this isolation that we're driven into. And now with the vaccine passports and everything, and being excluded from most of society, um, I can't even go out and do the safe, sober activities, that could bring me some temporary joy and relief, such as going to the cinema or a theater or concerts. Um, and I have no intention of getting the vaccine or the passport. I don't trust it. I will never trust it. Um, I have a very strong intuition about a lot of things, and my intuition is screaming at me not to trust it, and that there will be serious, serious fallout effects for many, many people. If not right away, then later on down the road. And this scares me. And then, of course, it's also the intrusion and invasion on our privacy and our rights, as if that's not already happening enough. It's these shutdowns, though, and these lockdowns and these inability to work and all these closures, and I'm struggling with it. I'm having a hard time. I don't have any family except for my children. I don't have any friends really either. You know, I used to have some friends through the meetings, um, but as I said, there's been so many meeting closures and things moving online, and not just that, but people just aren't getting together for fellowship or anything like that anymore. I don't drink and I don't drug, and so therefore I'm left out of a lot of things. You know, I've always had, I guess, this emptiness, this God-sized hole is what I've heard it referred to in recovery before. And I'm doing my best to stay positive and to stay busy with positive things and to hold on to my spirituality as tightly as I can and just foster my relationship with my creator and the angels and my spirit guides. But it's difficult when you don't have really a tangible presence in your life, like other human beings to, really communicate with and that camaraderie. Um, but I've always felt like I don't belong. I've always felt like an outcast, an outsider. Um, and I've heard that shared a lot in the meetings by different people that they felt similar, and a lot of times that is why we use drugs and alcohol, is to fill that void and also to numb the pain that we're feeling. Um, so it's difficult, Every single woman in my apartment building smokes pot and, drinks and does their thing and whatever else. Um, and I don't fit in with any of them. I I can't really relate to any of them. I don't do that. I don't drink, I don't drug, I don't go and party. I don't have casual, meaningless sex. If I'm gonna be with someone, I want it to mean something. I want there to be love. I don't want it to just be about fucking carnal lust. Like, you know what? Maybe in my younger days, but I know the implications that can have on a person. I understand it now. I know the psychic karmic attachments that you get whenever, you give yourself to someone in that way. And so I'm very guarded, and our bodies are temples, they should be respected. I don't want to take on anyone else's darkness. I don't want to take on anyone else's karma. I don't want that psychic karmic exchange. Um, I am very careful at maintaining a good level of spirituality. It's very important to me, and I want to evolve. I want to ascend. I want to be the best person that I can be. It's just difficult when I feel like there's no one that I can relate to, and I feel so alone. It's just so hard. And unfortunately, sobriety kind of perpetuates that. Um, just furthers the isolation. It also doesn't help that I have moved a lot over the last several years. And of course, when you move a lot, you lose touch with people that you start to make connections with. Um, it's been a while. Well, actually, to be honest, I don't think I've ever really had solid roots anywhere. I've moved so much. Yeah, it's difficult. And then the last 6 years, um, I was in back to back 2 different relationships that kept me very isolated, because anytime I tried to have a social life of any kind, or just tried to go off and do things on my own, it always caused a fight. Um, my partner would get super jealous and would either get physically abusive or emotionally and mentally abusive, or they would say that they didn't trust me. They would be accusatory towards me, or I would go out and do something, like my ex-partner, for instance. If I went out and did something on my own, he would get jealous and come up with all these accusations, and then he would go and cheat on me because he thought that that's what I was doing, and it wasn't. But that's what he did. And so you just learn to just not fight it. You just stop going out. You stop talking to people. You isolate. The person that you're with becomes like your whole world. I mean, of course, aside from our children. Um, but yeah, I mean, you get to a point when it's just not worth the fight. It's not worth the headache. It's not worth the accusations. So for the last 6 years, in these 2 back-to-back relationships that have isolated me so much, that now I don't have a single real friend in this world. It feels like, I don't have anyone that I can really turn to, and that sucks, and it's fucking hard. But I also, I have some acquaintances and whatnot, but I feel like I don't fit in, because I'm not like most people, and I have yet to find my tribe and where I belong. And this COVID business just, further perpetuates all that and makes it so much worse. I don't know what to do about it, because it hurts. And there is this big gaping void inside of me. And I do want to smoke pot to numb out. I know that I can never drink again. And I know that I could never use real drugs again of any kind. I have tested the waters with marijuana because it's the mildest, most least harmful, most natural substance that I can ingest that will help with some of these feelings and the pain that I'm in. But I want to be clear-headed and completely sober. But it's painful. And I don't want to settle. And I don't want to sacrifice my own morals or standards just to fit in somewhere, just to feel loved, or feel not alone. I don't know if this is ever gonna end. I wonder if it's I often wonder if it's always gonna be like this. Just me on my own. And it's really hard. I had to separate from my partner because he wouldn't get sober, and he was abusive and he did cheat a lot. So yeah, he treated me really shitty, but there was some good things about the relationship, obviously, and there were some good things about him, and I did see good in him. Every one of us has good inside of us. I thought, as I have thought so often in the past, that I could pull that good out of them. Um, People used to make fun of me that I had Mother Teresa syndrome because I would take like the darkest of characters and just try to pull the light out of them, you know. Or I thought that my love could cure all. And instead I got swallowed up by the darkness. And now I don't trust. Sometimes it's because I don't feel worthy. Sometimes it's because I just can't find anyone that shares the same interests, values, beliefs as I do at the levels that I do. And it's not that I'm intolerant of those with differences, because I try to be tolerant of everyone and, people with different struggles and whatnot. But I mean, obviously, I'm not going to hang out with someone that's drinking and using drugs, you know, and because then that puts my own sobriety in jeopardy. And I don't want to hang out with someone that just wants to use me for my body, because then it's just casual, meaningless, and, harmful to our spirits and harmful to our alignment with God, and can really throw off our chakras and put us into a major imbalance. So I am just going to try and push through this depression and hope for better days to come and hang on to my spirituality and pray that someday, hopefully sooner than later, I find my tribe. I find where I belong. I find some people that I can get close to and let my guard down. I find somewhere where I can fit in and feel valued and wanted and needed and desired. But for now, it's just me. And that's scary. It's scary for a lot of reasons. Not just the loneliness piece, but also the piece if I ever get sick again. What's going to happen to me? What's going to happen to my children? In 2018, I was terminally ill. I had a lot of sickness, and I almost died. I had a miraculous healing by God. The great I Am presence brought me back to life. Few people know the story because most wouldn't believe it. And that's the truth. Some might even try to have me committed again. And that's the truth. But yeah, it sucks. And even when it comes to reaching out to a church or going to a church for that sense of community, that sense of support, which is something that I would have done in the past, is, go to a church service and see what kind of good, wholesome people I can meet. But everything is so shut down, locked down, closed off. Too often, I've been a part of the crowd that got left behind or slipped through the cracks. Story of my life. I want to rise above it, but the struggle is real.